Hey there! Once again, it's time for the golden age of DC Comics, 365 days. This is a awesome hardcover coffee table book. What goes great with coffee table books, coffee tables? Coffee. Delicious, freshly brewed, freshly roasted coffee. Get a cup for yourself. Join in. Pull up a chair. Come to the coffee table. We're going to talk about comic books every day for the rest of the year. And what do we have in store for today? Let's see. It's March the 23rd. And we've got 3 sequential panels with clean gutters from Blackhawk number 12, Autumn of 1946, art by Al Bryant. Just before we go there, the golden age of DC Comics lasts from 1938 to 1955. This comic book started in Military Comics in August of 1941. I'm getting this information from the wiki. And the Blackhawks were a team of aviators, and they were a multinational team. And they had a cool-looking plane for its time, the Grumman XF-5F Skyrocket fighter with its dual propellers. It's a really cool-looking model, too. But Blackhawk, let's get to it. Let's show Blackhawk here. That's Captain Blackhawk right there in the center. Okay, there's a lot of dialogue, so we're going to read that. Just to be safe, I'm going to examine this water. I'll save you the trouble, Blackhawk. The particles are there. I put them in. Then you're of the Winged Death. I am the Winged Death. I developed the weapon and planned to rule this land by fear and the stooges I gathered. You'd better finish this confession where the police commissioner can hear it. No, I'm above things like that. Look. Yes, so look, we got 3 panels, and and people, and Blackhawks, and the femme fatale here. So let's read the blurb. March 23rd. Female villains seem to be something of a specialty where Blackhawk was concerned. It was one other way to get the feminine form in among that crowded male cast, even after Andre's incessant skirt chasing began to wear thin. One femme fatale named Fate appeared in several stories, but this one, Eclipse, is about to end her brief career, which seemed to consist almost entirely of luring stooges into her entourage, by bumping herself off with a weird device. They don't write dialogue like this anymore. A strange person, Eclipse was her name, and Eclipse her nature, to which Blackhawk replies, and she finally eclipsed herself. Dun dun dun. So yeah, that's our femme fatale. It's are femme fatales problematic, or are they positive female stereotypes? I mean, would a femme fatale have to play into the archetype of using a lure to bring a stooge in? Or is it more of like what we call a grift? I'm thinking of something such as the movie The Spanish Prisoner, with specifically Rebecca Pidgeon's character, and who I would consider a femme fatale, but a very passive one. And a very interesting one too, but having all the Spanish Prisoner is a really interesting movie. Steve Martin's in it. Campbell Scott, and it was made about in the early 90s. But it's got this golden age detective feel to it, and it's about an elaborate con job. It's a wonderfully crafted movie with a clever ending. Great coffee. But yeah, so the golden age of DC Comics and the femme fatale. So yeah, and that's what I wanted to do. Talk about Blackhawk Comics for a second, because Blackhawk did not start off as a DC comic, and this was the great part about these books, is that I'm learning so much about it. So what we see as Multiverse, as part of this great DC canon, usually began when DC started buying failed competitors' properties. And Blackhawk was from Quality Comics and was a direct competitor to DC Comics. Quality Comics folded in 1956, which is also the start of the Silver Age. But DC Comics bought the rights to the characters of these Quality Comics in 1956. So Quality Comics operated between 1937 and 1956. And they had notable long-running titles where Blackhawk, Feature Comics, one of my favorites from the 70s, G.I. Combat, Military Comics / Modern Comics, Plastic Man, the Plastic Man, Eel O'Brien, and also Will Eisner's The Spirit. So Blackhawk was, and it says here that it was at the height of its popularity in the 1940s, Blackhawk titles routinely outsold every other comic book but Superman. Blackhawk also shares the distinction of being just one of 5 comic book superheroes to be published continuously in their own title from the 1940s up to the 1960s. The others being Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and the Phantom. How have I overlooked Phantom and Flash Gordon and Mandrake and Tarzan? I mean, we've been talking about the Golden Age, but we're also talking about the Golden Age of DC Comics. But now, Blackhawk is a DC Comics, but back then, it wasn't. So Quality Comics are part of the multiverse that got folded all in 1985's Crisis on Infinite Earths. And Plastic Man, was a part, was a part of the DC universe that, in my thing, with the cartoon of the late 70s and early 80s. And he was always been in part of that whole Justice League, mentality for me, being of the Bronze Age. This was, and such as with Fawcett Comics, that was also DC's direct competitor of the Golden Age with Captain Marvel, the Shazam books, and also Charlton Comics as well. They'll later get absorbed by DC Comics, and they have they have the Question, and they had the Peacemaker. There's Peacemaker. He's Charlton Comics, and the Bulleteer, or Bullet Man, and there's just so many different. There's so much history to DC Comics itself. So a lot of what you see as Multiverse is because to justify having bought these other properties. So everything's on another Earth, and our great multiverse of different infinite Earths. of DC Comics. Well, thank you so much for tuning in today. Like and subscribe if you could be so kind. We're going to be talking about comic books every day for the rest of the year. So tune in tomorrow, 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern, and we'll see who we're talking about tomorrow. Yeah, thank you so much. And please, I'd love to earn your subscription. We talk about pop culture, comic books, spirituality. I'm an ordained minister, an amateur theologian, and cooking. I got cooking hacks for you. I'm a professional chef, and I have a playlist that says what's cooking. So I share with you some nutritious, delicious, and beautiful food so hopefully you make for your loved ones at home. And if you do, share some pictures. Thank you so very much. God bless, good luck, and namaste. Cheers.